Hi guys and welcome to the Ipswich vs Sunderland match review. Now Sunderland did draw 1-1 with Ipswich at Putman Road, which, I did predict a 1-1 draw, which is something I'm not particularly proud of. But before the game, if you said we were going to draw 1-1 or we were going to get a draw, would you have taken it? Yes, absolutely, because I believe that Ipswich are going to be up there or thereabouts come the end of the season, and I think going away from home there, it's a difficult game in the first place. And it's it's a good point to get. It's a decent point to get. Of course, I would have preferred a win, but it's a decent point to get. Now, the reason I don't look best pleased, and I'm not best pleased, is the performance. The performance was, you couldn't get further away from acceptable. That performance was so bad, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it, and we'll discuss it anyway. So we started the game with the three at the back and the wing backs. So we had John McLaughlin in goal. We had Conor McLaughlin, Willis, and Flanagan across the back three. We had O'Neill as the right wing back. We had Hume as the left wing back. We had McGeoch and Dobson in the middle with Gooch on the right, McGeoch on the left, sort of in the more forward areas, and McNulty up top. So the first half, I have to say, was the worst performance I've seen us under Jack Ross. Hands down. Absolutely 100% the worst performance I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is we lacked any form of intensity. The lads looked like they had zero motivation. They had sort of zero personality or style to the play. And they just didn't look up to it at all. I mean, for the motivation side of it, you can maybe... You can blame Jack Ross for a good chunk of it, but also you need to blame the players for that as well, because as a professional footballer, you need to have the ability to motivate yourself. I mean, to be able to, play professional football in general, that should be a motivation in itself, but they were just so far off it. There was no intensity, there was no sort of urgency on and off the ball. Ipswich, every time we got the ball, which was quite rare. Whenever we did get the ball, we'd either just hoof it, and we were forced into hoofing it because they were getting right in our faces. There was just no quality. We were hoofing it forward, giving the ball away stupidly, and they were just coming at us and coming at us and coming at us, and we were absolutely all over the place. Defensively, horrendous. Flanagan again, how the hell he's getting into starting 11, I don't know. Willis, for me, who I do rate as a player, generally, I do. He was poor. He wasn't winning anything in the air. Conor McLaughlin, who had a very good pre-season, I think he was one of our best performers in pre-season. He wasn't very good either. Hume got absolutely battered down his left side, in which he ended up getting taken off. So defensively, we were all over the place, all over the shot. There was no control in the midfield. We had no intensity or bite in the final third because we barely even got there. We just kept giving the ball away countless times. No form of creativity. There didn't seem to be any kind of plan. And it just handed Ipswich chance after chance after chance. And they did eventually break the deadlock, and it was no surprise. And the defensive work for this goal was nothing short of embarrassing. The players, there's no one even attempting to charge down the man, put any pressure on the Ipswich players, and he just ran straight through the middle. Some pathetic defending. He's walked straight through us. And don't get me wrong, John McLaughlin, who I very, very rarely criticised because I don't think he deserves it 99.9% of the time, but it is such a tight angle. He's walked straight through our defence, and it's the tightest of angles. It's gone straight at McLaughlin pretty much, and he's just sort of collapsed and let the ball run through him, and it's gone in. So, McLaughlin has to be at fault for that as well. Defensively poor, and the goalkeeper was shocking for that goal. But we are lucky that we only got into half-time and it was 0-0. Sorry, it was 1-0. Because it could have been 3, 4, 5 easily. A couple of good saves, a couple of very good blocks. Dobson, to be fair for me, he's probably our best player in that first half just because of the couple of blocks that he made. Everyone else was terrible. I still don't think Dobson was incredible because we didn't have any form of control in that midfield. But I think the most worrying thing for me is Ipswich, with no disrespect to them, I don't even think they looked that great. I mean, their intensity was fantastic. The pressure they put on us was fantastic, but on the ball, for me, they didn't look that good. They looked relatively average, but we just couldn't deal with it. We were that far off the pace, and that's saying something as to how bad we were. Now, Jack Ross, he did change things. I mean, I have a lot to criticise about Jack Ross over the last couple of games, but for this, I'm not going to criticise him. And he did change the system. He changed it from the 3 at the back to a 4-2-3-1, or to a 4-3-3, sorry. And eventually we did get the goal. We got a goal back in the second half, and we marginally improved. It was McNulty who, to be fair, he wasn't fantastic, but he runs his socks off. He presses the back line. One of the only players who seemed to be really pressing them with some intent, and he nicked it off them at the byline, played it across goal, and there was Gooch to knock it into what was practically an empty net. So it's 1-1, and then going for it at the end, Jack Ross changed the system for a second time and put it to a 4-4-2. And we kind of went for it in short spells, spits and spurts for about 5-10 minutes in total throughout the entire 90 minutes. But in the end we weathered the storm and got a 1-1 draw. But I just think the manner in which we played was just disgusting for a Sunderland team, absolutely disgusting. Now this 3 at the back, should we drop it? I think so. I think. In theory, this 3 at the back is a good idea with the wing backs, but you have to have the right players to implement this system. And he's trialled it in pre-season. Fair play. I'm not going to, slate Ross for trialling a new system because that's part and parcel of the game. He trialled it in pre-season. Defensively, I think we looked really good in pre-season defensively, but attacking-wise, it wasn't there. So I thought that we might work on attacking-wise because we had defence sorted. Season started and we've been absolute shambles at the back. And going forward, it offers absolutely nothing. So simply, we don't have the players to implement this system. So I would, just bite the bullet, Jack, realise that it's not working, which is fair enough, and change it, be it a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whatever. Because if our defence is that bad, at least give us a chance going forward with some attacking players. Because yes, it was just terrible. It was absolutely terrible at Ipswich. Jack Ross needs to take a massive, bit of criticism for that performance because it's so underwhelming. Like I say, don't get me wrong, I didn't expect us to go to Portman Road and wipe the floor with him or even necessarily win the game. But if we'd shown that we were competing with them somewhat, then I wouldn't have been bothered with a 1-1 draw. That's fine, it's a decent point. But we are so lucky that we didn't come away from that game losing 4-5-6-1. And that's all it was. And, I think I probably would have, been a bit more easier on Jack had we won at against Oxford, at the Stadium like last week. But the thing is, our performance was terrible then as well. It was far from good enough. And to me, it actually looks like, last couple of games, it looks like a pre-season game for us. We look so lacklustre, there's no intensity. And, without making excuses, when you do your research and have a look a little bit, most teams in the league have had between 8 and 10 pre-season friendlies, some behind closed doors, granted. With us, we had 4 pre-season friendlies, which is nowhere near enough. None of the players look sharp enough. They're just way, way, way off the pace. And, we need to see some drastic changes. And, I am 2 games in. I'm not going to say I'm 100% Jack Ross out, but I'm getting there. I'm honestly getting there because I just feel like there's no plan. There doesn't seem to be any personality or style to our play whatsoever. He just seems to choose a formation and chuck him out there and hope for the best. And I want Jack Ross to succeed. The tools and pieces to the puzzle are there, I believe, with this squad. But it's just finding the right tactics and finding the right system. I just don't. Does Jack Ross have the ability to find that system or to up the players or to get the best out of these players? It's not looking likely, unfortunately, at the minute. And I'm not giving up after 2 games. I think that's ridiculous. I don't think he should get sacked after 2 games. But I originally did say that I'd give him until December, see where we are. But even if if results do start going our way, but performances remain the same, I would want him to leave because we can't be performing like that at this level. We can't. There's not a chance now we can get away. He can get away with that for too long. There isn't. So we go to Aki Stanley away in the Cup, which I will be going to. So if you guys are going, I hope to see you guys there. So hopefully, I'm guessing he will experiment with the team a little bit. We'll see some more players, some different players come into the squad, which I'm quite excited to see. I hope he does drop this 3 at the back. Maybe, because with it being the Carabao Cup, I honestly don't give 2 shits whether we're knocked out or not. So I just give it it's a good time to experiment with something. Maybe just do a 4-3-3 from the start or a 4-2-3-1 from the start and just go for it. Just absolutely go for it rather than this petty defensive bullshit because we can't go through a season like that and expect to get 100 points, which is what Charlie Methvin, I think, pretty stupidly predicted for us or wanted us to get or set a target for us. But yeah, so I'll be going on Tuesday. Hopefully we do see an improvement. Like I said, I originally gave Jack Ross till Christmas. If performances stay the same, maybe 10 games max, because if performances continue, then the season can slip away from you so quickly. If you're going for the 2 top promotion, automatic promotion places, you need to be winning the majority of games, which is simple. Not easy, but it's as simple as that. And if you're constantly putting out performances like that, you're not going to get it. And your standards have to be so high in any league if you want to get into those top 2 automatic places. And the league can slip away from you so quickly over a matter of games. So things need to drastically improve, or Jack Ross needs to leave, and we need to freshen things up. Whether that means he needs, a point that's been made to me recently that I think's a very good point. Does he need a bit of help? Because I think Jack Ross, he can become a very good manager. He is relatively inexperienced. Maybe he does need a more experienced assistant manager with him. Is he just surrounded by yes men who are going to agree to everything he says? Potentially. I don't know that for sure. We don't know that for a fact. But does he need just a bit of help to say, no, you might be wrong there, mate. Why don't we try this? Or someone just to bounce off and bounce ideas off, rather than being surrounded by people who could potentially, it is just potentially, he could be surrounded by people who are just agreeing with everything he says, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. If you look at the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, 2 of his assistant managers end up being international coaches. Carlos Queiroz being one of them. And that says something. Assistant managers aren't just assistant managers. They are managers in themselves in their own right. So maybe he does need someone alongside him. And is that me making up excuses for him? I don't know. I'm just trying to think of any kind of solution. But yeah, so to summarise, drastic improvements needed. I don't know how many more times I'm going to say that over the next few games. Hopefully it does change, and quickly it has to. Otherwise, unfortunately, Jack Ross is going to have to leave, and we're going to have to change things up again, unfortunately. But that's it, guys. Second game of the season, and look how depressing we've got already. But if you have enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. It'd be massively appreciated. And subscribe to the channel if you're not already to become a fully fledged member of the Sunny Army. But for now, you take care and stay jamming.